And it is showtime. All right. So Cryptid said, "What is up, squad?" Shout out to Cryptid Tactical.
We are the new squad.
The what squad?
The new squad.
The new squad. The squad for the vet bros, my friend.
No,
I am your vet bro leadership here. D-Lo the vet bro, featuring Tyrone Portabelo and Lee Michael Hunt. What's going on, fellas? How we doing today?
we are doing great.
Pretty
Wow.
good.
Beautiful day.
Pretty good.
What you say? Why you being all shy over there, Tyrone P?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
This fool. You know you don't really.
My
have
name
to
is Jeff.
You don't have to get that close to the microphone if you don't want to. We can still pick it up.
No, but this is the morning radio voice that I like to do sometimes. And you're listening to 92.3 FM, the Java.
See, you say morning voice, but I say nighttime ASMR voice. I'm just trying to be smooth with it. Yes.
Up next is Sweet Classics by Marvin Gaye and Barry White.
Oh no, you ain't got the voice. You got to do this voice right here, baby. Hey, mama, how you doing tonight? You need a little
Canadian radio. It's the Canadian radio voice. that I'm doing.
Oh, then you got to drop the A.
Hey.
Hey, y'all. Hey, I'm glad y'all here, man. Thank you very much. We've been on now for about a minute now. It is 12:03 here in Central Texas, in San Antonio, where I am at. And if you come in, please make sure you guys hit that like if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. We are on the Gun Line at YouTube, so on the Gun Line podcast YouTube channel. I don't do Spotify anymore. So also shout out to King Virgo 82 on TikTok, also known as Lee Hunt. Make sure y'all go follow him. And whenever Tyrone P decides to start dropping his stuff, y'all make sure y'all join him there as well. But I want to say something. Tyrone P is a recently retired service member, just retired out of the Army, maybe about a month ago. All right, so he's new back to the world. And I don't know why Lee over there looking like he's got that Dr. Umar fucking like, or Malcolm X look going.
I'm just making sure that I have the proper hand. I'm doing something with my hands.
Okay. Also, we gotta make sure like we're contemplating, kind of like when you're a chess player. All you gotta do is this. Make that look right.
Exactly.
Hey, so shout out to Tyrone P. Congratulations on your recent retirement, man. I hope that you get all the blessings that you're looking forward to. And how's it been so far?
It's been pretty good. I live in Florida, living the Florida man life. So if you're not familiar with Florida, to get around, you got to ride crocodiles. You stand on top of them, and then you commute that way. It's mandatory that you wear jorts anywhere you go. If I travel from point A to point B, I have to make sure I have an excessively large political flag waving from the back of my truck.
You also need a cooler full of Bush or Natty Light.
Yeah.
That's just standard data.
And you just got to wear normal clothes, but ripped in pieces. And there's stores for that. They kind of help you assimilate. There's like a 8-week boot camp to kind of get you to like live like a Floridian here. But it's been great. I love it.
So Roland wants to know, that's all gravy and all, but what about Crocs? And he's talking about not the animals.
So I can't afford Crocs. So I go to Walmart and I got these things called Crocs. They're off-brand Crocs. And instead of holes, they have stripes on them.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, that's like when you used to buy that one off-brand Adidas jacket. It didn't say Adidas; it said Adidas.
Oh, so I actually had off-brand Adidas shoes, but they had a fourth stripe, and they were called Jubitos. And I got those when I was a kid.
I had the off-brand Nike jacket. It didn't say Nike; it said Bike. I'm not even joking about that shit. It said Bike with an upside-down swoosh. So anyways, welcome. We got 4 in the building so far with us here. Thank y'all for joining us, man. Make sure you tap that like button. And we got also Lee Hunt. who, if you're a friend of the pod, which most of y'all are, y'all know Lee Hunt be here with me all the time. He is my red man if I was fucking, or red band, whatever his name is, on Joe Rogan. Or he's my Jamie. That's who he is. He's my homie that's always here with me.
See, I thought you were going with Red Man, Method Man for a second, like because Wu-Tang is for everybody. Wu-Tang is for the kids.
Yeah.
But even though Red Man wasn't a member of Wu-Tang, he's just good friends with Method Man.
Yeah. I feel ya. Hey, Dominga, how you doing? And why we gotta be losers? Damn, man, that's hateful. Wait, we're losers? Weren't you a Korean linguist in the Air Force?
That is
out here?
Huh? That is a great segue into the topic.
Exactamundo. She came in right on time. Well, gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Today's topic is definitely something that I think has been blowing up on the YouTube sphere. And I want to personally thank and take this time to shout out Tyrone P, who has made every effort possible to avoid being sucked in to this black hole of vet bro-ness and vet material, because he has deleted anything and everything that has to do with the military. So the fact that we were able to pull him in today just shows us how bored he is at home and how much he has love for the podcast here. So before we get started, let's do some quick intros. Lee Hunt, if you wouldn't mind leading the charge.
Yeah, so you know who it is. It's the one and only You Can't Clone Me. I have a lot of friends and a lot of homies. Some fakes and some phonies. But back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
Wow.
Mike Jones, who? Nah, man, y'all know who I am. It's the one and only. I'm here, baby.
So can you give us a little bit of your military history?
Oh, yeah, that. So joined the Army 2002, July 2nd, 2002. Went to Fort Campbell, the greatest duty station in the United States Army. Deployed with Campbell in 2003. So between 2003 and 2011, the only year that I was not in Iraq was 2007. I did 4 deployments to Iraq. Was a part of the initial invasion of Iraq in 2003. And like I said, did 3 more rotations to Iraq after that.
Okay. Word.
It was a 13 Bravo.
Point.
Yeah, 13 Bravo. United States Army, 13 Bravo. Field Artillery.
What
served as
did you hold as a 13 Bravo?
Yeah, so I served as a section that was number 1 man, gunner, section chief, gunnery sergeant, and platoon sergeant. And I was also an instructor for BOLIC at Fort Sill, which is I really think that every 13 Bravo should go to Fort Sill and do some kind of instructor time there, personally.
100%. All right, we're gonna kick that off next to our returning co-host every once in a while. He won't use his first name and last name, so I won't do it either. But Tyrone Portabelo, give us a little bit of your history and your military history, if you don't mind.
Well, you guys can call me Jesse. It's fine. But Tyrone, I'll do Tyrone. No, I joined the Army in 2004. Did 20 years. Did a year as a radar operator, and then every position on the gun from number 1 man, powder bitch, round runner, fucking driver of the cat and the gun, to gunner, chief, senior chief, gunny, and then smoke, and then deployed 2 times to Iraq, once in 06, 07, and 2010, 11, then Afghanistan, 18, 19. So, yeah.
All right. Roland said that's the big moose of the Aguamoose clan.
Yeah. That was our.
I guess that's an inside joke there.
No, that was our, like, it started off as a gun name, and then I became a platoon sergeant, and then I named the platoon the Moose Platoon, and then we just became the Moose Platoon.
All right. Right on. And my name, for those who don't know my real name, is Danny Lopez. I joined the Army in 2004 as well as a 13 Bravo Cannon crew member. I deployed 3 times once to Baghdad, once to Mosul, and once to Afghanistan. I served on every position from old, I can't call you Jesse, man. Like the homie over there was saying, the Korean looking one, like Tyrone was saying, from powder bitch to round runner to every position of the cat crew, which is ash and trash, and then up to number one man. Then I became a gunner. Then I was a section chief, and then I did. I hate to say this because it doesn't really count, but I was a quote unquote gunnery sergeant in the rear D. There's no gunnery sergeant in the rear D, man. There's not. All right. I just happened to be the one staff sergeant that was below the higher ranking staff sergeant that was in charge of the fucking rear D element while the others were forward deployed. Anyways, I got out in 2015, medically retired, and here we are. One thing that I will say that all three of us have combat deployments, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And we all have accolades for being deployed, or not accolades, but awards for deployments. Whether it's a AAM and an RCOM, a Purple Heart, for deployments, Bronze Stars.
That is correct.
Yes.
All right, correct.
That is correct.
Yes.
And I believe one of us here was actually the one who went to the initial invasion, in 2003. There was absolutely no recognition for the non-combat MOSs or the support MOSs, as they say. If you're not fucking infantry, you're support to them, right? So there was no award like the CIB during that time when you went through the invasion, correct?
That is correct.
Motherfucker, this is not a deposition.
This is a deposition.
Please just answer the question. Please just answer the question, sir. Thank you.
So
there was nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, there was no way that somebody could go ahead and be like, for example, Hunt was one of those that would love to be like, air assault. You know what I'm saying?
Come in. I can't hear you. Come in.
So you know what I'm saying? So that was his way of showing that he had gone through air assault school, right? And but being that he was not an infantryman, he couldn't get a CIB, even though he was in combat operations out in Iraq. So when he came back, he got sent to 277, was never put in retroactively for the CAB, and for some reason never got one while he were in country the second time. And then maybe he just didn't face any hostilities or anything that quote unquote warranted it at that time. However, it's a disservice to him because now his DD-214 doesn't reflect that he's a combat veteran. All right. Urena over here has a Purple Heart. There's nothing left to say about him being in combat or not. He's a combat fucking veteran automatically. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you get a Purple Heart for fucking tripping and falling down the stairs. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised.
Well, nowadays,
you'd be surprised.
You're right. But and myself, I was awarded a combat action badge during an incident that occurred in January 5th. There were more incidents that occurred. However, the biggest issue that's come up now is people in the veteran community, as if we're not divided enough as Americans. We seem to be dividing ourselves within what's a combat veteran, what is the definition of a combat veteran. So, Hunt,
yes.
Tell us, do you believe if you touch down in Kuwait and you spend your deployment there, quote unquote deployment, are you a combat veteran?
I can't. This is the thing, though, man. Like, I don't necessarily see the whole quote unquote combat veteran thing in Kuwait. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like there's no hostility in Kuwait. Like, I don't care if you are an infantry guy. So if you're an infantry guy and you spent a rotation in Kuwait, like, I don't even know if they're authorized to get CIBs for that. You know what I'm saying? Do I have some type of feeling away about the whole thing? I used to, but now I just don't give a fuck. Fuck it.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, but I don't like. I can understand, like I said, if you just spend your rotation in Kuwait, I don't know. You were not in imminent danger in any sort, because anytime that you were in Iraq or Afghanistan, no matter what you were doing, you were in imminent danger. You were. Even if you were on the fob, there was imminent danger between mortars coming in or what the fuck ever. You may have been just a regular person and it was your time to work the gate, and then boom, V-bed came through and hit that gate. So anytime that I believe that if you were in Iraq or Afghanistan, those particular theaters, you were, a combat veteran because you did face those hostilities. You may not have been lucky enough to actually have them happen to you, but the potential for them to happen to you were greater than being in Kuwait.
All right. Go ahead, Tyrone Portabelo.
I agree. Like, for example, in 2010, 2011, like, I had a higher likelihood of dying being on the FOB. Like, for us, we were like, dude, I'd rather be out on the road where there's risk of IED. That's the year I got blown up. But the risk, even then, I was like, dude, I'd rather be out here on the roads than like on the FOB and then potentially getting like rocketed while I'm trying to sleep. Because every single night, like we were taking incoming. And I think that year, more people from that were there in country died just being on the FOB. That's when like the 6 dudes from the FDC kids died because they were in their shoes sleeping. And then our 3rd ACR, we lost 2 on our FOB in the middle of the night from rockets. And then there was a cav unit that took like these barrel explosives. And then they're like, one of the commanders died. So more people were dying just being on the FOB and getting hit by rockets. So for me, like, yeah, that's like combat.
So I think that the distinction that we have on both of those elements is that there was actually combat. You were being engaged while on the FOB.
The threat, there was an actual threat on your life in country, in Iraq and Afghanistan.
But okay, so let me rewind a little bit. All right, so just I'm gonna stir this hornet's nest a little bit more. All right, so check it. Here's the thing: you get imminent danger pay for being in Kuwait. You know what I'm saying? And according to and I had to look this shit up. I went because that's why I was asking, because somebody was saying like, well, in order to be a combat veteran, if you get paid imminent danger pay, because there are excuses, you get imminent danger or hazardous fire pay for being in Iraq and Afghanistan in those theaters. 100% you do, but you also get it for being in Kuwait. So I mean, where do we differentiate? Where do we draw the line? So now, if you're Bob on the FOB and your FOB is getting mortared, like let's say like Balad was in the initial parts of the war when they called it Mortaritaville and all that bullshit. All right, I get it. Now that I get, you were involved in combat operations. There were hostilities. You were being engaged. Okay, but when you go to fucking Balad or Anaconda in 2010 and they have 2 fucking swimming pools, they got a goddamn mall pretty much. What you say? They have a movie theater, a college there. Is it really a combat fucking? Are you really a combat veteran, or are you just a veteran of being in a combat theater? You see what I'm saying? And that's where I start getting into it, because it's like, to me, there's very small. And again, it's in the veteran community mostly that we get into it. Like, it becomes a dick measuring contest. But the reason that I bring this up as well is because for some reason we've turned into a prison genre in the military community. Because in the prison community genres and the social medias, they're always talking about pulling out paperwork. All right. And one thing I don't think anybody needs to do here in the military community is start pulling out people's paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Especially because it's illegal as fuck. So I don't know who. I know older millennial used a clip of that the Jolly Green Ginger, whatever, and used. But the thing was, it was already out there. So whoever took it out first, that's on them. That's on them. Yeah. Now check it. I'm guilty of it, I guess, too, because you know what? There was some fool, what is it, Vets for Harris, who he went, but see, he's the dumbass. He's the dumbass that put up his information up there. You know what I mean? And he put it on his background as a screen. So I used his own shit against him. You know what I mean? You put that shit out there, bro, I will go CID on that ass. No diddy. But with that said, I think that there is a distinction between someone who is a combat veteran and somebody who is a veteran of a combat war or a veteran of a foreign war. If you were engaged in hostile, if you were engaged by the enemy or engaged the enemy, yes, I consider you a combat veteran. But if you were on the BIOP and you never, all you did was roll around on the fucking buses around Liberty and Victory and all that, and heard a fucking mortar fall somewhere like 600 meters away, are you really a combat veteran? I don't think so. Not in my eyes. You know what I mean? So how do y'all feel about that, Hunt?
Man, let me see how I'm gonna break this down.
Go ahead, baby.
Well, this is the thing though, because there was a lady when I had I had replied to the older millennials video of that, and I had shown how I have an award from. It was from the 2003 deployment, right, where it said, you know, I engaged, like I was, you know, instrumental in the section firing over 50 rounds, right, which helped liberate the city of Najaf, Iraq during combat operations. And this lady, you know, she was a Marine. That was fucking crazy as fuck to me. But she was like, according to Army regulations, because you were not shot or shot at, you do not qualify for a cab. You are not like, this doesn't apply to you, blah, blah, blah. She was just going ham. And I'm like, dude, you're stupid. Like, I know what the fuck I did. Like, I engaged the fucking enemy.
Exactly.
Like, how could I not be a fucking veteran? How could I not, if I really wanted to, how could I not deserve this, if you will, the cab? You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say that word deserve because it's like it gives a distinction that I'm better than anybody else or something like that. But it's like, no, like, now could I have put in the paperwork to retroact it? Yes, apparently I still can. Am I going to do it? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But it's just, especially now I'm out. What? There's no point in me doing it now. It's just chest candy because
it is. It is.
And I'll say this and I'll end this, man. 1 deployment, 100 deployments. 1 award, 100 awards, man. Civilians aren't going to give a fuck.
100%. Hey, Doc K, how you doing? All right, let me read Mr. Mission Control here. Mr. Mission Control said, my family was a military family. I didn't get to serve due to scoliosis, but I run a government oversight nonprofit news organization, and I do my part. I didn't get to go, but I have lots of buddies that are. Hey, shout out, Mr. Mission Control. We appreciate you, man, doing that government. Anything that's government oversight, as long as you're not from the government, we're good with you, baby. But check it. We appreciate that, bro. And not everybody is able, you know, to join and serve their country. Get it, 100%. You know, and everybody does play a part within this organization. Like they say, without supply, bullets don't fly or whatever. But supply, you still ain't combat arms, and you're not a combat veteran. But anyways, what do you think? Over here, Tyrone Portabelo.
About who should be like I put things in perspective, right?
Go ahead.
If I can put myself in the shoes of a Vietnam veteran and their experiences, and then they come back and they're having the same discussion about whether or not they're deemed to be combat veterans compared to a veteran from World War II. The World War II guy is going to say, well, when we fought, we could see the guys. I'm losing 20 people in 2 seconds. We're getting shot up. We're seeing the enemy face to face. The Vietnam guy is saying, well, in our combat, we're getting ambushed by the woods and the tree line. We can't see the enemy. There's bungee sticks on the ground. And we're just shooting into the wild aimlessly, and we got people dying. The Gulf War guy is saying that we demolished everybody, airstrikes, shock and awe. We killed a bunch of people. And then you get into OIF, and then you have to break down the OIFs 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. And a veteran from each group is going to say 1 was harder than 2, but 04 got tougher than 3. So it comes down to perspective and what do we count as actual combat? Is it being in an environment of combat? Is it being is it seeing your enemy and engaging that enemy directly, or is that indirectly engaging your enemy and killing a bunch of people? Who's more of a combat veteran, a guy that killed 1,000 Taliban with a 777, or a guy that didn't kill anybody but shot at an insurgent with an M16? Who's the bigger combat veteran? So, like, for me, I think of things like that. Like, it's
you 100%.
It's weird to me.
You're 100% with that, you know, because even as we're discussing this, I'm thinking about our brethren in the Navy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Usually, the only ones that ever get close to combat as possible are going to be your corpsmen that are attached to the jarheads. Them, and of course, you know, those dev crew and fucking seal fuckers. But what about the ones that actually launch those Tomahawk missiles? You know what I mean? That do and I mean, they put in work with those missiles, right? So
the UAV, the Air Force UAV operators that were flying out of Germany, I think. Okay, that had to get
they were flying out of Vegas, bro, out of Laughlin, Nevada. That's
but then, you know, so they go on their shift for 12 hours, right? Because at the end of the day, they go home, but they go on their shift for 12 hours, and they just literally saw like the people they're about to kill, you know, from this little screen. They kill like 1,000 people, and then they go home at the end of the day, and then they have dinner with their wives, and their wives like, "How was work, dear?" And he's like, you know, like, "Oh, you know, I just blew up a village, but you know, like,
I'll go again though." But those are not combat veterans, though, to me. In my eyes, again, it becomes a dick measuring contest. You know what I mean? I think it's if you were in danger, and I'm not talking about the threat that was there. I mean, if that's the case, you're in threat here all the fucking time. You know, there's a potential.
Hold on. All right. So the Air Force guy in Vegas flying a drone. Say you're the platoon on the ground, engaging the enemy, you're getting overwhelmed, and then that Air Force guy happens to fly his drone and he hits the target good enough to kill the enemy that's attacking you, saves your life on the ground. What do you think of that Air Force guy being the guy
I appreciate
that just got his
man.
life saved?
Thank you for doing your job.
Would he not be a combat veteran? He just saved your life in combat.
I'm not saying he didn't save my life, but I mean, I said thank you.
He saved your life in combat. You would have been dead. You would have been dead.
I mean, I was a true combat veteran. He was the remote control flyer from home.
That saved your life.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. I appreciate you doing your job.
Which was a combat role to save your life by providing lethal, accurate fires to repel the enemy.
Bro, again, I got you. I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? It does become a dick measuring contest, right? It does. And I mean, your point is well taken. Like, I mean, this guy is doing his job, which is being a drone missile flyer maneuver guy. Same thing. The same thing goes back to the Navy. You know what I'm saying? Are they combat veterans if they've not even touched the land that we're in combat at? You know, my point is, motherfucker. Okay, you know what? Let's bring this back a little bit. Let's bring it back. Let's circle back like Jen Psaki style. I have a friend, which we all know actually,
whose name is Daniel Lopez.
Battle buddy. One of them here was his battle buddy in boot camp. All right, who we'll just say Tim Waltz. You know, some information, and I have a problem with stuff like that. People who exaggerate their service, and when people say that they're combat veterans, to the untrained ear, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit!" All they're gonna do is go back to movies like fucking Platoon or fucking you know, Saving Private Ryan or Generation Kill. That's what they're gonna think when they hear combat veterans. But then if you start prying and be like, "Hey, what was your MOS, bro?" and you find out, "Oh, I was a '92 Yankee." Okay, bro. And where were you at? I was an Anaconda. Okay, how much combat did you see there, combat veteran?
So with that analogy, right? Because you brought up all movies with infantry, right? The movies you brought up were infantry-based movies, and you said, okay, so now this is what people are going to think. But it's 13 Bravos, and we tell people that we don't necessarily, we want to say, oh, I'm a 13 Bravo, I'm a combat veteran. Somebody say, well, you're right, yes, I'm a combat veteran, right? So by that nature, unless we decide to divulge that, yes, I was a 13 Bravo, people would assume that, we were out there getting it in like Platoon, Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, or something like that.
Right. I get what you're saying. So what is the outcome? What are you saying?
What am I saying is like we have to be careful because like even though we're generalizing and wanting people to say, oh, well, I'm a combat veteran, us ourselves, like we've by that in my logic, it's like, okay, so like I said, we go around and say we're combat veterans, but we're not 13 Bravos. We'll have to explain it to people. And then people be like, oh, so were you really a combat veteran?
Right, exactly. So some people, for example, should not. Okay, you know how bad it's gotten. It's to me, honestly, it is a stupid fucking argument. It really is, honestly. I mainly do this to entertain because I know there's people out there that get their butts hurt when you say you're not really a combat veteran. But I'll give you an example. Well, first of all, let's go into this chat real quick here. Y'all mind if we go into the chats?
Let's do it.
No, you good.
All right, so Doc K says I was Reapers and don't consider myself a combat vet. Right on, Doc K. Much love. Doc K is an Air Force veteran, by the way, friend and of the podcast. Kramer says, Chief, part of the mission of the field artillery is destroy, neutralize, and suppress the enemy. That should be combat veteran criteria. Mission Control says, do y'all think there's going to be another draft? Let's go with you, Irina.
No. And I'll tell you, we're so ingrained in the military being a business and a money generating tool that to bring in the draft would remove the necessity for a lot of the stuff that we do, like the salaries that people fight for. We'd become so unprofessionalized in the matter of like weeks by getting
Gunners Collective,
by getting kids that don't even want to be there. Like we already have an issue in the military right now where people don't want to be there, and now you're telling somebody, hey, you have to be there, that doesn't want to be there, and they don't give a shit. And so that you'd have so many discipline problems. People have this false notion that all of a sudden you're going to transform these people into these patriotic people. No, they're going to be pissed off because you just took them away from their families and what they were doing to do something that they didn't want to do, because the country says that you have freedom of choice in this country. And now you're telling them that they don't have a choice, that they have to serve. Like, just look at Vietnam. Like, people were just burning shit. It would be 10 times worse. There's no way we'd ever have a draft. We have enough people to volunteer. We have enough money to throw at people and enough old people to throw money at to bring them in. All you got to do is look at 2006, Iraq, when we had a big recruiting problem. We got people. We'll get people again.
Hunt?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what the commander said. Wholeheartedly, I don't think that there will be another draft problem. I think that there's way too many. For instance, if God forbid something happens on a 9/11 scale again, we've seen how like recruiting like took off on that scale, despite of what the infighting that we may have amongst each other as countrymen, left versus right. I do believe if there was another 9/11 scale event to happen, recruiting would go up. It would go exponentially, just like it did during 9/11. At its core, left and right, and I'm not trying to get political about this, but at its core, left and right are very there's something about it. Like when this country needs us in the time of war, it doesn't matter. We're going to go there. So I don't believe that there will be a draft anytime soon.
Well, let me go ahead and just keep going on this one right here. Throw this at y'all. There's been a lot of rhetoric within the social medias complaining or just putting it out there that if things don't work out a certain way, whether for the left wing or the right wing, that there might be a quote unquote potential uprising, I'll say. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that that's even something that's plausible to happen?
I think it may be plausible. I think it's sad that it might happen because you have that rhetoric, despite the fact that people will want to have a civil war within, with our countrymen. It's like we're too civil for that. Like, I got it. But there's no reason because of any kind of thing like that where people, especially those that never seen combat or never even wanted to go to war or volunteer for the service, Now you're talking about fighting your own countrymen, and I think it's repugnant. You rather fight your own countrymen over a political idea, a political party, but you wouldn't want to fight an enemy that in a time of war when our country was like, hey, we need people. We're taking anybody. Just come on in.
Reach.
So like I said, I think it's very repugnant that it doesn't matter who you are, that you will want to fight your fellow countryman, but you didn't have the balls to fight the enemy in a time of war.
Urena?
Yeah, we people like to talk a big game, like, oh yeah, we're gonna start a civil war. Nah, we're paperback bitches, dude. Like, nobody's gonna shoot anybody. The difference between now and 200 years ago is, like, I don't have deep rooted loyalties to a state, right? So I'm not going to be like, oh shit, Texas just picked a fight with California. Let me go back to California and serve that
right,
like that state. No, man, because I got family all over the country. I got people in Texas too. Like, nobody gives a fuck. We're going to talk a big game, but we don't have those kind of like state divided loyalties. And even though we're divided party wise, we have so much family ingrained on the other side and both sides that it's just not a thing. And to fight over who's in power for like 4 years, like, it's just a ridiculous concept to me. Like, I don't understand. Like, hey, if you don't like who's in charge right now, guess what? In 4 years, somebody else is going to take over. Go vote. Don't bitch because you didn't vote. Fucking go vote. You know.
Right,
so we get heated in the right now, but it goes away the moment somebody says, "Oh, a shiny thing over there." We get distracted and focus on something else.
All right, check this out. So the homie Dubs. Hey, if you guys don't know, y'all need to go follow Dubs. His channel has great content. He's tapped in with current events that's going on around in the social media sphere around the U.S. Make sure y'all go tap into Dubs World. Hey, and the homie says, I believe every American should have to do 2 years service. Too many Americans are too pampered and not respectful of the sacrifices of those who have served. And, I'll go ahead and cap this one off. I'm pretty sure I know where Urena stands on this one. But I agree. I think that it would take a couple of generations to buy into it, as far as like having to serve a minimum 2 years, kind of like they do in Korea, kind of like they do out in Israel. In Korea, you have the Katusas. They have to do 2 years, and after that, chuck deuces. I think that would be a great idea. Get them still where they're fresh out of high school. It'll instill in them discipline, structure, shit that they might be lacking at home. You know what I mean? And it'll prep them better for the civilian sector when it's time to serve. And should there ever be a need for a draft, we would already have people that were previously trained. Now, I know, Hunt, you are an advocate for people that don't have any direction to join the military, but how would you feel about it being mandatory after, let's say, you completed high school, you have to go do 2 years of service?
No, so like, I don't think it should be mandatory per se, but like I said, because we don't know, those are those people that know, hey, listen, as soon as I get done with high school, I'm going to college. Like, I have this already secured. And then it's going to be a problem to where it's going to be like, well, now it's kind of like that whole draft thing and the draft dodgers and this, that, and the third, if we do that. But I believe if you know for a fact that college is what you want to do, if you know for a fact that HVAC, if carpentry, if being an electrician, being a plumber is something that you want to do and you want to pour your whole heart into that, you know what I'm saying? I believe you should do that. I believe if you don't have any direction, guidance, purpose, motivation, all that good shit in your life, then yes, you should join. There's nothing wrong with it. I think that Dub said it best. There's too many pampered motherfuckers here. Get out and do something. Do this for your country, and then in turn, you're actually doing it for yourself. Despite what it is right there, man, it's going to make you it has the potential. It's not going to do that. It has the potential to make you a better person. You have to put in the work in order to see the, you know what I'm saying, that potential in you, and let those people be willing to bring that potential out of you.
Facts. Go ahead, Urena.
Where do I begin? All right, so I don't think it should be mandatory. Service should be mandatory. We are the best military because people want to be here. People volunteer to serve. That is what sets people. That's what sets our army apart from every other country. Is we volunteer to be the crazy people behind the weapon that wants to be there and kill you. We don't get demoralized because we want to be in that foxhole to kill people. Like that's what sets us apart from the conscripts in China and the conscripts in Russia. They suffer from low morale because they didn't want to be there. They didn't volunteer. So, but we want to be there. We said I want to fly to another country and go do this crazy shit because I'm going to get paid or whatever. And I like the thrill of it. That's what sets us apart. Now, I believe broader, if there was a system where we have to mandate something, I would say not just military, but being a teacher, a public servant, law enforcement, firefighter, all these different things, because I believe that the military's frame of decision making and thinking is not appropriate for the civilian sector.
Oh, and trust me, I learned that one fucking hard.
Just because you're in the military doesn't mean that you're going to make a great president or you're going to be a great public servant. You're like, how many poor commanders have you met? Or poor first sergeants have you met that you're like, how did this person get in charge? And you're telling me that because this guy has those credentials, now he can be a senator? Like, no. Well, so I don't want people with the same thinking. And we also have this hierarchy mindset in the military where seniority automatically means that you're more smart, or you're smarter, and you're more intelligent, that you have more power. So if you look at South Korea, they're very like, oh, this guy's older than me. Let me bow in honor because this guy automatically runs shit. Like, but even though the younger guy might be more educated, more proficient, more technically skilled, we like they place seniority over actual knowledge and education.
They do that when it comes to the combat patch thing.
Let me. Oh, that'd be another one that's going to hit right now. But real quick on this, the thing about the bowing down because of the age thing, but that's a sign of respect. So we always say we respect the rank. We don't have to respect the person, right? We respect the rank, not the person. And that could go 1,000 ways. But I'll say this, though. Why is it so unpopular to be a fucking soldier nowadays or to be serving in the military? Whatever happened to wanting to be part of, for example, I mean, it's like something happened between the generations where all of a sudden we went from a generation that was like, hoo, and I know I get it. The media bombarded us with a bunch of fucking movies that were propaganda to make us join. But I mean, shit, what happened to having pride in your country to wanting to serve your country? Shouldn't it? Isn't that, it's not like no longer instilled, you know? And I think that there's a problem there. Y'all don't see that as an issue that our kids don't have the same, everybody that lives in America loves the freedoms that we have here, but why aren't they lining up to preserve these freedoms by serving the military?
Because they have the freedom not to. Like you said, it's all voluntary. Like we can't criticize people
there, right?
Yeah, we can't criticize them for not wanting to because there's still, even though we see that there's not people doing it, believe me, there are still people that want to get out and fight in this fighting force. There are people that either it's just been pushed down through their lineage and they want to keep up that family tradition. They want to do that. There are people that generally love this country and have that enthusiasm and want to fight for it. There was a guy, I forgot his name. He was a captain in the Navy. He was Dev Gru, gold team. And he's talking about there is no shortage. He said, I want to let the American population know one thing. There is no shortage whatsoever of new recruits coming in and wanting to join the military. He's like, we get them all the time wanting to come in here and be SEALs. And he said, no, we're not lowering our standards. But he said, rest assured, we're going to give you a good product. And, you know, and I take that for everybody else, like Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines. Don't just have the people in Urine, and Portabelo said it too. Don't just have everybody there. Get the people that are going to be there and want to be molded, because there are people that want to be there and be molded. You're going to have the best quality. You're going to have the best product for the American people once you get those people that want to do it.
All right, so Gunners Collective, Gunners Collective TV. Y'all make sure y'all go check out. He's on tap with the same content. Well, not the same, but on about the same content as Dubs. Both of them collab together, make great lives. If y'all are not tapped in with them, y'all need to go tap in with Gunners Collective TV as well. He's a real big supporter of me here. Him and Dubs both So they always shout out the podcast. So much love to them. And Gunner says it's every American's responsibility to defend the rights and privileges they are afforded by the sacrifices many have made that have served in the military. As Americans, we have a responsibility. And again, I do agree with that. I really do agree wholeheartedly with the sentiment of every American should want to serve. And I wish that they did serve. But I mean, I also believe in the whole fucking, freedom of being there and not being there. You know what I mean? I don't know where I say it. Go ahead, Urena. You look like you want to say
so
something.
that goes back to my comment where I think if we did mandated anything, it should be broader, right? So in the military, we're very narrow-minded, and I'm trying not to be negative about this. We're very narrow. We believe that we are the center of the universe when it comes to this country's affairs. So when we think of the U.S., we're like we think of it's a military problem that can be solved with the military. And it's just how we operate. It's what we do.
There's no issue that couldn't be solved with a couple AG rounds.
If I talk to a doctor and I say, what's his biggest threat? He's going to say cancer or gunshot victims or whatever. And he's going to say, I wish we had more doctors. I wish we had more people in the medical field because that is the biggest epidemic in this country. Is we need to take care of our healthcare workers. If I look at teachers are going to say the biggest problem facing America right now, they're not even thinking military, they're not thinking law enforcement, they're thinking education and educating tomorrow's future. Like I said, and they're narrow-minded in their world. The doctors are narrow-minded in their world. You talk to police and they're going to say the biggest threat to this country is crime in their communities, crime and whatever. I wish we had more law enforcement people that serve some time in law enforcement so they could get a face of what we do, in law enforcement and make our jobs easier. You see, if that makes sense.
No, I got what you're saying.
So they're narrow-minded in their world. We're narrow-minded in thinking that everything revolves around the military. So therefore, this country needs to focus its sole attention on the military. It's just not like that. We need to be able to expand and say, all right, the military is part of this country. Law enforcement, medical, education, fucking janitors and shit to keep the streets clean or whatever. Everybody needs an equal piece of the pie because everything's what makes this country run as efficient as it does. We have to stop thinking like we're the center of the fucking universe because we're not. We're not. We need diplomats. We need fucking people that don't just think strategic and military. We need people that think common sense and go, oh shit, you guys need doctors, not soldiers in this fucking to cure your plague problem that's happening in your village. We need to think that way. And I know people are going to be like, oh, that's fucking some liberal shit. No, that's just me being a neutral guy with some fucking common sense going, hey, there's a bigger world outside of the fucking military.
There is, and why you digging at me, man? What, because I live in a military-centric podcast? Is that why you throwing jabs at me?
This is a jab at everybody, man. This is everybody,
No, but I mean, I feel what you're saying. I do feel what you're saying. I want to touch on something that Hunt was just about to bring up, and that's the good. And this is going to circle back to again combat veterans. Let's go ahead and refer to the Army's fucking Boy Scouts of America way of giving merit badges. The combat patch, as it's called. How do we feel about the combat patch? Hunt.
I personally, I got it, man. I think it's a thing of pride.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a thing of pride because, I know for a fact that I always wore the 101st when we had the, even when we came back, I'd have the 4ID joint on. As soon as we left, I'd take it off and throw my 101st patch on. But I don't think that it should be somebody's identity. I don't think that it is a qualifier for somebody being able to lead efficiently. I don't think it's a qualifier for drill sergeants to have that for them to teach the basics of training.
Right. I think that, first of all, it should be renamed because apparently it used
shoulder sleeve insignia, but that's what it was called. The combat patch.
Right. It's a shoulder sleeve insignia for overseas duty or something like that.
Former service,
but overseas service. But apparently, I remember I was in JRTC at Fort Polk. Good old Fort Polk, Louisiana, baby, the ass crack of the Americas. And during that rotation, this is back in 2011 because we were getting ready to go to Afghanistan. I think we were setting to come back home to Colorado, and they were telling the 100 and worst that they can't wear their combat patches. They were telling, like, apparently the 101st, that was the incoming unit that was getting ready to rotate through there. They told them to take off their combat patches, be light on the right, because the privates that that were new to the unit were feeling like they were left out. So, at what point does this shit become like too much, bro? Because now they give them patches in basic training. It's like, fuck, dude. Should it be required to just wear the fucking the combat patch in the Class A's? You know what I mean? Or I just don't get it. I mean, or should it just be like the fucking army? I mean, the jarheads that they just fucking they don't wear shit. You know what I mean? What do y'all think on that?
Yeah, we have a guess what? Fun fact, everybody. There's a uniform that the Army has that if you want to show off your bling, you could wear that. So like if you could wear all your ribbons, all your fucking flair from TGI Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
You want to let people know how many times you went overseas. There's a uniform for that. You can wear it now. Should we be allowed to wear it in camouflage? Yeah, because it motivates some people to go pursue these schools, right? And there's a sense of pride, like they'll wear their badges and they'll go. I felt proud when I got air assault, and I was like, man, like first Cav is the one that sent me to air assault school. And then, I didn't think anybody else would.
Oh, shit.
And
hold on, did you go to the air assault school or the air assault course? Because there's a difference I've heard.
I don't care. You know what? I don't give a fuck. I learned
You went to the fucking course, guy.
I went to the same shit. You know what? I'll go to the PX and buy a fucking everything ring too. Yeah. I don't fucking wear that shit.
And then the day you got the ring.
Yeah, the whole school.
Bro, you should have seen Hunt's face. Like, wait a minute. You went at a cab.
I didn't
go to Wawalowski School of Air.
I don't care. I went to Fort Bliss under the same time standards, under high elevation, with a one-shot go. No do-overs, no fucking recycles. You only get one shot. And then that's it.
I loved Air Assault School. I went 3 times, man. That's how much I love that damn school.
You know what's funny?
This time wasn't my fault. Like it wasn't. But no, man, listen. And here's the thing. I'm guilty of that shit.
I was about to say that.
My hypocrisy with this whole shit, with the whole combat veteran shit, and the fucking like you're talking about. No, you went to the fucking course. There's only one school. There's a shit ton of courses. But there's one school. So I'm guilty of. I'm being a hypocrite, and there's no reason for it because I've been out for fucking ever.
You know what's funny though? But see, here's the difference. And for the civilians, which I don't think there's any civilians in here right now anymore, but for the civilians that don't understand, within the military itself, we will talk shit like this. Like, man, you ain't no fucking combat veteran, dog. You know what? Oh, you did a rotation in Arif John? Oh shit, how hard was it for you out there in Ali Al Salim? Come on now. But I mean, that's amongst us. We'll talk that shit. What it sucks is when you have people calling out your fucking duty, your service, that never did a day in the fucking uniform. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think that's what was happening out in the TikTok sphere as well, with Ginger Belly and older millennial too.
Yeah, so apparently he was in 7th group. So
who was?
Older millennial. Now, here's where it gets tricky with older millennial. He said that he was a senior non-commissioned officer, senior comms non-commissioned officer in charge of 2,000 soldiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
He put that on his Indeed resume or whatever the fuck, right?
Okay.
Then it came back that he was a staff sergeant. He's like, no, I was a staff sergeant, this, that, and the third. And then it's like, okay, guy, but were you an actual 18 Echo? Because I don't know of too many 18 Echoes that are going to be in charge, especially not at a staff level. You weren't staff. But you said you were a senior guy in charge of this many people. So to me, that lets me know, well, in charge of that many people with comms. So to me, it's like, dude, you were attached to that unit. I don't think that you were actually an 18 Echo. I'm not going to question that dude's service, but it just, maybe Arena, you have something you want to say. Maybe it just don't sound right.
Yeah.
It's
Go ahead.
That's where our NCOER generation, where we try to like milk something to get something that sounds
We
sexy.
fluff that shit.
Yeah, right. So
what did you just do? You had to milk it.
So it sounds like this guy he was the comms NCO working at an S6 or whatever. That he did comms for like the entire brigade, I'm sure. But on paper, he put down, I was in charge of communications for over 2,000 people and $10 million worth of equipment. Does that make sense?
Kind of like when you do your fucking okay, I see what you're saying. Like on my resume, since I was the battalion EO leader, I would put on there, I was in charge of training up to
500,
2,000
600
personnel.
people.
Yeah. I'm sorry about up to 500 people in equal opportunity and all that shit. I see what you're saying, because you want to translate what you did in the military into the. So you know
on
what?
The civilian side,
I'll give an alibi on that.
On the civilian side, it's accurate. He's technically correct because he was the comms guy for an organization the size of 2,000 people. Within the military, we're hearing that, and you're like,
that motherfucker used to just plug in the ANCD.
Yeah, like
just plug in the radio, bro.
And here's the deal: like he never once said that he himself was an 18 series. I've never heard him say that. He said all he says was, I was in 7th group. You know what I'm saying? And like me listening to that, I'm like, dude, something don't seem right about that. Because like 7th group, you were in charge of ODA so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. You're the one in charge of all those ODAs inside of 7th group, right? Those teams inside of 7th group, you're in charge of all them. In their combo, no, dude. Like you said, you're somebody's S6 or some shit, man. You're the combo dude. You were attached to like I said, I'm not questioning that dude's service, but he always says, I'm not showing you my DD-214. And then on top of that, everybody that I have seen that even current, that are active duty or retired, they always have either their high-speed ranger shit in the background, they have their group, they have the special forces joint in the background, something. This dude never has that stuff in the background. So like I said, with me, I'm like, dude, something's not adding up. Were you an actual 18 Echo or were you not? Since you want to question everybody else's shit.
I'll say this. You don't even have to be a fucking Ranger tab, long tab, fucking sapper, all that high-speed space shuttle door gunner to have all that shit in your background. Because normally my background is different. You know what I'm saying? But my background got changed because, my accolades and all that are in the garage now. But you know what? Since we're saying that, I want to do something real quick. Let me share with y'all what my accolades would have looked like. Let's see if they were back there. And, you know what? You can't even see me anyway, huh?
No, well, not you. We see that. I mean,
nah, never mind. That ain't no big deal. But anywho, it's funny. I still have my DD-214 here on hand because I had to look through it when I was looking at that other guy's shit. Look, I don't know older millennial, his service or anything like that. I just laugh at the shit that he says, as well as I like that he's going at that gingerbread man. For some reason, that dude I've never liked him, and now even knowing that he's a veteran, I don't like him anymore I don't like him anymore any less than I did. He's the one that's, I think this whole I'm a combat veteran shit came from. It stemmed from him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's a combat veteran?
Yeah.
It's a yes or no. You ain't got to think about it. You either think he's a combat veteran or not.
Yeah. By definition.
Okay. To Lee Hunt, is he a combat veteran? Yes or no? If we outside in the smoke pit and you hear the story of this motherfucking fat motherfucker with a missing tooth that didn't do a goddamn thing, never fired his weapon except at the zero range to verify his zero, never left the cop or the fob where he's at, is he a combat veteran?
Well, I'll say this, and I'm making it easy. If I was on the fob, if I was in the unit, I actually knew what was going on, then I could definitely for sure say yes or no. But just from right now, knowing what the definition is, I have to say that he is.
Okay, Urena?
I don't know who this guy is, but if I am in a smoke pit with civilians and there's a veteran with me, and that veteran says, "Hey, I'm a fucking veteran, combat veteran," I'm gonna be like, "Hey, don't fuck with this guy, man. He's cool in my book. You know, like don't question him. You have no room to question him." Offline, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, dude, what'd you do, man? Like, where were you at?" And he's gonna be like, "Oh, you know, I was pushing fucking potatoes and stuff, not doing shit." And I'm like, "Oh, you're fucking
the wars off."
I'm like, "Oh, that sucks. That's cool,
Thank
bro."
you.
But in public, I'm gonna protect that person because he's a veteran.
You know, I think that you hit the nail on the head on that one. I will say that as veteran community, we're airing too much of our dirty laundry out there for people to nitpick at. You know, it's and again, it's a dick measuring contest that is up. There you go. Yeah, Diddy that shit up.
Damn. Yeah, right when I said he did it.
But
It's like the new Call of Duty. Like, I'm afraid to play that new Call of Duty.
I haven't played it yet. I'm gonna get on it. By the way,
have you seen what they can do now?
Hold on. First of all, time out before we go there. Let me finish my thought, and then we're gonna continue with this conversation. Gingerbread man, you are not a combat veteran unless you engaged or were engaged directly by the enemy. That is the definition of a real combat veteran. So you are a trans combat veteran. All right. You identify as a combat veteran. I understand that. You know,
I have been on a conference call one time with Jolly and a couple of other veterans from TikTok. I was on a conference call with them before. So I don't even when I hosted my lives, he's been in my lives a couple of times. We're not mutuals or anything like that. It was a spare the moment type thing. But once again, I can't, like Irina said, we're in a space right now where the civilians going to be listening. So like he's combat veteran.
Gun line, baby. We on the gun line. And I'm going to say it because you know what?
You see, hold up. Rob Knight said that's not the definition on how to get a cab or a CIB. So, Rob, do you I don't know if you heard the story, but this woman told me that I don't even deserve a fucking cab. Like, even though I know what the fuck I did. Like, I engaged the fucking enemy in OIF-1 during the initial invasion. You know what I'm saying? As a 13 Bravo. We spent about 5-6 days fucking up Najaf. And even though the ward said 50 rounds, it was way more than fucking 50 rounds. Because we spent about 5 or 6 days firing into fucking Najaf.
You know what? Show me
2 people. I don't deserve a record of fire, but fuck it.
Hey, you know what? No. You got to break out the record of fire. You got to bring out all the paperwork needed in order for you to fucking prove that shit nowadays.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about that cab. It ain't finna do shit to me now.
It doesn't. But at the same time, those that okay, so it kind of goes into the Purple Heart type shit, right? Let's talk Purple Heart.
The enemy expert marksman badge.
Wrong place, wrong time award. You know, I had a soldier who received one who claims he caught shrapnel in his back. All right. And to this date, I will call bullshit on that because I was there during that attack. This motherfucker got it for a concussion. A fucking concussion. The RKG-3 grenade blew up in front of him or behind him, and the slug from the RKG-3 peppered Hicks in the face. When we got to the cache, they took Hicks into the fucking to go get treated for the peppering of the round, and the gunner, whose name I can't remember right now, he fucking went in because his back was hurting from it. Purple Heart. Purple fucking Heart. That's a disservice to those who people bleed for this shit. They get hurt for this shit. They get wounded. They get flipped over in fucking Humvees, blown the fuck up. And you gonna get it for a concussion, my dog? And not only that, you don't have the fucking balls to say I didn't earn this. What do y'all think about that? You know what? Let's start with you, Urena, because you earned it. So,
all right. So
look, I'm not saying that your dick is bigger because of it. No, nigga. I mean,
it's a baby dick, man.
But I'm not saying it's not neither. You know what I'm saying?
I pee on my balls. I gotta like use a toothpick to hold it
your
up.
Balls.
Look, I'm not a doctor. I will never be a doctor. I could play one on TV, maybe. I don't know. But a doctor made the determination, or somebody made the determination that this person warranted this device. It goes back to the comparison, right? If a guy got his legs blown off by an IED, gets a Purple Heart, and then another guy gets his finger cut off by an explosion or by a bullet shooting his finger off because he was in direct combat with the enemy, does he not deserve the same like award? One had a bigger, more drastic injury. The other one was in direct combat with the hand-to-hand combat with the other guy, lost his finger. Does that guy that lost his finger not get the same Purple Heart? So concussion, if you look into it, that leads to deep-rooted psychological problems down the road. And I get it's not like sexy. It's not sexy because there's no blood. It's not gory, but it's internal damage that's going to grow over time. You just got to look at football players like Junior Seau and other football players that suffered concussions.
My boy, I'm sorry,
but if that was the case, I'm just saying.
So they're going to give me a Purple Heart next? Because I wasn't aware that I had a TBI. But
in 10 years, you didn't get. Let's say you didn't get your Purple Heart, and in 10 years, your brain starts deteriorating, and the doctor
my brain's already deteriorated.
No, but like at a rapid pace to where you could barely walk and you could barely talk to your own kids.
Dude,
right?
no.
Look, and you're basically a potato. No, let me finish.
That term strong in like a motherfucker.
And you're a potato, and it is determined that your condition, your failed weakness right now is because of as a result of that explosion. Is that not warranted?
Look, man. Okay. I see where you're going with this. I can see where you're going with this. But with that said, again, then that's going to start just opening up the floodgates for people that trip, fall, and fucking cut themselves because the mortars were incoming and they were running to the duck and cover bunker, and they're going to get a Purple Heart for that.
No,
or
I don't think so.
Or let's do this then. How about if we're going to go with that logic that you got right there and follow along with me. We know a lot of people who live with PTSD, right? Diagnosed. Should that be a Purple Heart award? I'll wait.
Yeah. If the award says that this is what we cover and PTSD is part of it, yeah. I don't go look at people and go, man, that dude's got a Purple Heart, but he's walking on both legs. Like me, like I'm walking, I walk, I go to the gym, I try to work out as best as I can. If somebody came up to me and they're like, man, I saw those Purple Heart plates, dude, you look all right. Like, should I be mad? Should I be like, no, you're right?
I would just tell them it's none of your fucking business, but
then to the dude that got peppered, said he had a back injury and said his shit was cut. Like,
okay, first of all, there was two different ones. Okay,
yeah, the guy
was the one that caught the peppering in the face.
Yeah, the one that had
that person just made a
concussion.
That person just made a judgment call on what warrants a Purple Heart. Based on the severity. He saw a person that can stand on both legs, has all 10 toes, fingers, and all that stuff, and goes, man, that dude, he's got a Purple Heart, but he doesn't look like a Purple Heart recipient. That dude made a determination based on his own bias and agenda. And so is he correct? Should I just relinquish my shit because I didn't lose a leg? Because the people that lost a leg will be like, man, people that lose legs
for the country. Did you bleed?
Did you lose a limb? Is what some people would think.
Then let's take it all the way. Did you die? Because people get the Purple Heart for dying.
People die from PTSD. People die from concussions.
Exactly. So
I think it's gatekeeping at the end.
Yeah.
What's that? So I think it's gatekeeping at the end. At the end of it, I think it's
92 Alpha. What's up, 92 Alpha?
I think unbeknownst to you, you may be gatekeeping a lot of these things. Like, who is deserving of this? And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, it just sounds like gatekeeping to me. And I got it. And trust me, this is somebody who did want one. Like I keep saying, man, do I have a little bit? Obviously, there's some animosity in behind it. The whole fucking cab situation. But now it's like, fuck it. It is what the fuck it is. But I think maybe gatekeeping a little bit.
I think a lot of the passion that comes out of it for me is because all soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership, but I'm not going there. I think that all service members are definitely we can definitely say we're not better than the society that we live in. We just stepped up to do a position that less than 1% of society does, right? But there's people out there that like to exaggerate their fucking service to those that don't know. Did you say something there? There's some of those that like to Tim Waltz their service, and this motherfucker.
I couldn't run fucking a quarter of a mile, but now I'm a goddamn airborne ranger, and now I'm fucking infantry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think y'all got me right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As you can see, that's a big wound with Hunter. But what I'm getting at is I think there's a lot of people out there that they exaggerate their service and not be proud of what they did because they think that. Okay, let me rewind. Let me get my thoughts straight. I know you're reading this like, what the fuck's going on here? What's he trying to say? Spit it out. Spit it out. All right, so here's what I want to say. There, to the civilian eye, whether you put a Marine, a soldier, a sailor, all next to each other, it doesn't fucking matter to them. They're all going to look at us in the same scope. I mean, they're going to put the jarhead higher because of the uniforms. But I mean, the biggest issue is they're going to be like, hey, those guys are heroes. And to a lot of us, we know that the heroes are the ones that stayed out there in the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? They never made it back home. But there's those that want to go ahead and use that. I can't even fucking think of the name of it, bro. But they want to like associate themselves with those type of people when they know damn well they didn't do anything but be use a clicker at the DFAC. You know what I mean? If they were honest, they would say, hey, I appreciate it, but nah, man, I just did my part. That's all they got to say. But there's those that go out there out of their fucking way to exaggerate what they did. As far as fucking, putting shit on their uniforms that never belong there. But anywho, sorry. I apologize. I went all over the place with that one because I ended up getting stuck on my microphone. Yeah. Urena, you look confused. I'm sorry I confused you, bro.
No, it made me think. Me personally, the way I've tried to carry things is you could tell me that you were a special forces ranger, fucking airborne guy all day long. If that's what you believe, hey, good for you, man. We'll have a conversation, and then I'll be able to go, you know what, you're full of shit. And from now on, I will take everything that you say with a grain of salt and stuff.
Right.
Am I going to hate you as an individual because of it? No, I'm just not going to believe a lot of the shit that you say. But you might be a good person deep down inside. You got your reasons for fucking living in a make-believe world. I'm not a therapist. I don't fucking know. And kind of where I'm going with this is we become a society where we try to call people out so much. I saw a video a few months ago. There was this kid. He was homeless, asking for money. He had a Marine Corps hat. And then this guy wanted to do such a stolen valor fucking video that he was asking this kid that's, homeless, like down on his luck, like, oh yeah, what unit were you in? What's the nomenclature of a blah, blah, blah. And if I'm on the ground and I can't even fucking feed myself, asking for fucking change, all I've got are the clothes that I still kept around from the military or whatever. and you're asking me all these questions about like what's my 9th general order. Like, I don't remember that shit, bro. Give me some fucking change or get the fuck out, dude. Like,
I'm trying to not remember your first general order that I will guard
I
everything
don't fucking know
my
it, dude.
post and quit my post only when properly relieved.
I don't know that shit. I don't know the fucking values. I don't remember that shit.
I got
Brain dump, dude.
No, and
so,
I'm 100%
delete.
Yeah. And so if I'm out of the military 4 years removed and I'm begging for fucking money, and I'm strung out on drugs or whatever, and you're asking me some board questions, dude, like what the fuck? Like,
bitch, I couldn't answer them when I was in. Now you think I'm gonna answer them when I'm out?
But that guy got so focused on making his little "I got you" video, he started calling him stolen valor and all this crazy shit. Like, it goes back to like, I don't know what's happening in the minds of people when they're talking to you in that moment. I don't know why they will tell me that they jumped into Normandy when they were born in 1990. Like, you know, like I don't know why they say what they do. I'm not a doctor. I just go, you know what? Hey, you know,
bro,
sorry, you know, good job, man. But
hold on, I don't want to cut you off, but you just reminded me of somebody that we served in Korea with, that we had that was like that. We're not gonna say no names, but this guy, wasn't he the one that supposedly like air assaulted into Afghanistan and fucking took out Hajis with a knife? You know who I'm talking about, right?
Probably.
Yeah. You know, and dude, again, it's people like that I don't fucking understand, bro. Why do they have to exaggerate their service? Look, you served. You did more than anybody else. And CA has a question here for us, all right? Hunt, the question is, why do some combat MOSs who have never been downrange talk shit on support MOSs who have? So
I don't know.
Let's give an example. Huh?
I said it's stupid. Like I said, you've never been downrange. You even have like these infantry guys that swear up and down that just because they're infantry, they're better than everybody else. And it's be like, yeah, meanwhile, this motherfucking cook or whoever was on the road with us day in, day out for a fucking year getting after it. And you have like, you just think you're better than this guy. This guy was on the road getting after it. This motherfucker could have been on the fob cooking, but no, he was on the fob. He was on the road getting it in. These mechanics, even though they're mechanics, guess what? They were making sure that the AC was fixed. They were making sure that we were mission capable. They were out here getting after it. And like, who are you to think that you're better than anybody else? And that's what like, and I guess that comes with youth, because I did fall into that trap at one point in time. I still talk shit about, you know, artillery being the best there is. But at the same time,
first of all, that's not talking shit. That's just talking reality. Let's be real.
I understand
if
that
you ain't artillery, you know, you're a target. But before we move on to the next, I got a question for y'all. Do you know your 4th general order?
There's only 3.
What?
No, there's a 4th one.
The fuck?
One of my old section chiefs taught me this one.
I don't know the answer at this time.
Listen to me. I will walk the beat. I will beat my meat. I will fuck any pussy within 15 feet. That's your 4th general order.
Demonetized.
Yeah. Gotta get monetized first in order to
the FBI CID has entered the chat. Please tell us when you serve.
Oh man, but
sounds
dude,
like something a predator would say.
Oh my god, damn!
Sounds like he was grooming you to be a predator.
Yeah, let's look into the history of his service and who he served over.
Oh my god! First of all, if I'm complicit of anything like that, you're with me. I serve with. I've known y'all for damn near 20 years each.
I'm not even using my real name.
I am not complicit in anything. Go ahead and look for him. It was all him. I believe in snitch culture. I will snitch in a heartbeat.
All I can say is Hunt used to be one of my NCOs.
I will say this. It is a wise non-commissioned officer once said, it's me and you till it's me or you.
Damn.
Okay. So don't make me have to get in that position, because it will be you before it's me.
So,
I'm snitching. Austin White.
Let's go back to Homeboy's question here. The question was, why do some combat MOSs who've never been downrange get shit on, or shit on support MOSs who have?
So I believe that combat patch insecurity, combat toughness, insecurity is a real thing. It's prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
People that don't have it are upset at the fact that other people do have it. But like I don't give a fuck what people's MOSs are. Like if you're an infantry guy, like please talk shit. If you're a Marine, please talk shit. I love it. Because in 2006, we lived in an outpost out in the middle of nowhere, and we had a cook. And just like Hunt was saying, like we'd go on patrol. The cook was a machine gunner on a 240, if I'm not mistaken. We come back and we make food, and that was the routine. The dude was working hard. 2010, 2011, each one of our platoons had a Humvee mechanic that would roll with us. In the event that we had any Humvee issues, the Humvee mechanic could troubleshoot those out while we're out on patrol. And then when we came back to do maintenance once a week, he already knew what was going on. He had the 5988 set up, and then he was kind of like the liaison with the motor sergeant down in the motor pool there, like on the fob, and could say, "Look, these are the Humvees, and these are the issues, or whatever." So it didn't matter like what your MOS was during those days. Like we needed to put bodies in seats and stuff.
I'm gonna give my 2 cents if y'all don't mind. Here's the vet bro answer. Honestly, it's pride. Pride in your fucking MOS. And I think they should be proud of being proud of what MOS you have. I saw recently a video of some TikTok shit where they were asking these kids like, "Oh, how do you feel about infantry? Or are you glad that you're infantry?" Like, no, fuck no, infantry son, blah 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 blah. You would have asked me when I got a motherfucking out of OSUT, what I think about the field artillery. I'll say the same thing I say right now: king of motherfucking battle, baby, king of motherfucking battle. I don't got it tattooed on my arm for no motherfucking reason. I love the field artillery. I eat shit, breathe NFL. All right, and that's not the National Football League, motherfuckers. I love the smell of wolf pussy. I love the sound of outgoing. I love the two greatest words, fire mission in the English language. All right, and because it's just pride that's stuck in you. Just like jarheads are fucking proud of being jarheads, even if their fucking MOS is to be a goddamn computer technologist. It's the same thing with your MOS. Now, as Urena has brought up with the infantry folks,
demonetized.
Man, I've been almost slipping like 3 times.
Make sure they close captions off.
I thought he said folks.
Yeah, I said folks. With the infantry folks. Look, man, you have to drink the Kool-Aid. You have to be proud of what you do. The funniest thing is when the infantryman says, "Oh, you're a pogue." I am. I'm a person other than grunt. I am. But guess what? When you're in that tick, guess who you calling? This fucking pogue right here. We have a cadence all for it. We make cadences about people like you. What's the sound of artillery? Boom, boom. What's the sound of the infantry? Somebody help us. Yeah. We make fucking anyway. You just gotta have pride about it, dog. You're 92 Alpha. That means you work in PLL, right? You order your parts, and yes, you're gonna get shit on. It just happens. Hopefully you'll be attached to a beautiful fucking field artillery unit where one day you'll be glad to support us, bro. I'm just saying. Combat MOSs are just like that. We're a different breed. If we joined a combat MOS, we're a different fucking breed. That means that we wanted to do combat shit. Right or wrong?
Wrong. I only had 2 choices. Infantry artillery.
What was that?
Infantry artillery. I actually wanted to be an MP, but they just said infantry artillery.
This motherfucker called me a snitch, and you talking about MPs?
I said I am a snitch. I will snitch in a heartbeat. Don't get it twisted. I have no problem telling. It was him.
I picked it because the name sounded cool.
Oh no, Doc K, I would never, ever, ever say you're exaggerating anything, honey. No, you good. You are good. Man, that picture is beautiful, isn't it?
Hey.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I picked 13 Bravo because the name sounded cool at the time. Cannon crew member. And I thought I was going to be shooting anti-aircraft weapons in the mountains of Korea. So that's why I picked it, because it sounded cool. No other reason. And then it wasn't until I got to AIT and they put you in the Paladin simulator and I'm holding that stupid little fucking round in the simulator where I'm like, did I really just sign up for this stupid shit? Am I really going to be doing this for the next 4 years? And I cried a fucking tear because I was like, God, what did I do? I'm an idiot.
And yet 20 years later, he retired from it.
Trying to change my MOS 5 fucking times throughout the whole fucking process, trying to go fucking SF, Delta, fucking all these other different things to get out of the MOS. And they just wouldn't let me out. Oh, because you're good at it. Yeah, I'm good at it because it's fucking easy. You pull a string, go boom. I hated this job. I hated it.
Well, you know
but
what?
I love the people I've met, and everybody is a big impact. Like I love everybody that's in it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
When you retired, bro, when you got out, did you at least mention me in your fucking outgoing speech?
I didn't have a speech. I just left. I popped deuces, dude. No ceremony, nothing.
When your last day of the unit, you just say, I want to give a big shout out, Stasarn Lopez, who was a big influence on me ever since I met him in Korea. And I left him hanging out there that one day in Hongdae when I left with some Greek chick dressed in a red dress.
You ever seen
he passed out asleep out there in the middle of nowhere where he could have gotten in trouble and woke up the next day. Yeah.
It was like,
I'm
you ever seen the movie
base plates right now?
You ever seen the movie Life? It was a long time ago with Martin Lawrence and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That end scene where like they go over all the characters and they slowly start disappearing. That was me in the unit, and it just disappears. And there's a caption like Jesse, like went on to move to Florida, got a fucking potato farm, never to be seen again.
Hunt, let me ask you something, Hunt. Let's say me and you went to Korea, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we out at the club, right? Clubs don't start popping in Korea till about probably 2 or 3 in the morning. Right. Now, we're not just in Korea. We're in the outskirts where we're not supposed to be at. We are in violation of the SOFA agreement at this time. We are in college area.
Some off-limits establishment.
In North Korea.
We were off limits like a motherfucker, dog. And like we wouldn't even carry our CAT cards. You had to use your state ID to get into these clubs. So check it. But you're in there, you're having a good time, partying it up and shit. You're with your homie who you rode on the metro with all the way down to fucking Seoul. All right. And then when you get there, it's about 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. And, you see them hanging out with some chick and all that. And it's about that time, like, okay, we got to cut loose, right? 6 in the morning comes along, like, hey, what's going on, dog? Where you going? And he's like, deuces. And he just happened to start walking away with a girl in red. And you have nobody but yourself. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you at least be a homie and be like, hey, dog, I'll let you sleep on the couch or some shit, or you can sleep outside of the door, or are you just going to leave me fending for myself out in this middle of nowhere town in a whole other continent?
You can ride the metro back.
My boy, I had to. You
ride the metro back. Yes.
Bro, you know what? Bro, all I know is I woke up the next day, dog. I was on statue at some park, and I'm like, where the fuck is Urena at? I'm looking for my phone. I couldn't find my phone. I went to a gas station. I was like, where's the metro? I don't know how to read the metro. This fool knows how to read it because he's Korean.
It's in English. The whole thing's in English. And I was out serving my country.
Which one?
I was building relations
real well, didn't you?
Because I remember her. She was a school teacher, a very nice lady.
Yes, she was.
And I was building relations with the civilian population that was not as informed with what we were doing.
You know
there
what? We could have built a bridge
force
between us and her, is what I'm saying. We could have built a bridge, maybe an Eiffel Tower, maybe a wobbly H. You know what I'm saying? That's what a real homie would have done. Just saying.
We sat down for a consultation. I informed her of what we were doing in the country, and I think on follow-on encounters, I think we could have approached that subject as a possibility. But in that moment, under those conditions, I only had like so much time to react and be able to like close the deal on what was going on. And she was very educated by the end of the whole encounter, so it was great.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, Doc K, if you're still here, isn't it true that Air Force chicks just love Army men, though? Isn't that just a fact? Like, I mean, because we go to Osan, and it's like all the broads out there creamed themselves as soon as we showed up. I'm just saying.
So there I was in the jungles of Vietnam.
Yo, I'm just saying. So let me ask y'all, man.
So I'll tell you what, I do have a few more. My ribs have been on since 8:40, and I'm about to have to get ready.
We're about to wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and give some closing thoughts. Hunt, since you got to go first because you got some ribs. I know better than getting between a black man and his ribs.
I will say this: at the end of the day, I think Urena hit it best, man. For older millennial to even come out with this shit talking about you're not a combat veteran, it was a dick measuring contest. It was stupid as fuck, especially since his service, in my opinion, is in question. And if I would have been on that live panel with them people, I'd have been like, hold up, dude, this isn't making sense. And there were other people. There was a master sergeant on that panel who should have brought that up. But anyway, listen, man. If you're if you say you're a combat veteran and you served in Iraq or Afghanistan, fuck it, you're a combat veteran. I'll close this with this. I could be as nitpicky, kind of like how I forgot which one of y'all were saying that. I could be nitpicky with people and be like, you guys came in and served when you had body armor and when you had armor on your vehicles. Like, y'all don't know what it's like not to have body armor, not to have armor on your vehicles, to have sandbags in your fucking vehicle, riding from Kuwait all the way up to Iraq for the whole fucking year. You're still riding around with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Still riding around with no doors on the fucking Humvees. You know what I'm saying?
I can be getting about it. You could tell that.
I could be like, really I could be like, you guys aren't tough enough. You guys aren't this, that, and the third. But I'm like, fuck it. Hey, do you?
Shot fired. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, who am I to judge anybody else's service or what they did? Like I said, like, we're over here arguing about who not us, but like people are arguing about like who got shot at the most, who got like killed or whatever and stuff. And meanwhile, the ghosts of the fucking Spanish Revolutionary War, those who fought Genghis Khan, are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we fought with battle axes and swords. we had to put skulls on the
horseback.
Like, we rode horses. These people are riding fucking cars and shit. And then the Romans are like, man, we fought fucking pterodactyls, bro. Like, what the
elephants.
Yeah, elephants and stampedes and shit and cannonballs. Like,
Civil War veteran, like, you call yourself cavalry? Where's your horses? You guys are riding on Humvees.
So
tanks.
It's like, in 10 years, whatever the future is all going to be fought through drones, and people are going to be arguing about, well, I fought this fucking synthetic fucking creature, with the pain sensor on it. And you don't fight with your pain sensors on, bitch. Like, it's going to keep going. It's never going to end.
All right. And that's going to be round 2, baby. And then I'll go ahead and give my final thought. Look, man, at the end of the day, if you did serve your country, you did more than less than 1% of what our country does. Be proud of your service. All right. If you want to live in this wonderland where if you stayed on the FOB, you were Bob on the FOB mayor, you delivered fucking, Delta's fucking duffel bags from the airport to wherever their camp is, and you want to call yourself a combat veteran, go ahead, bro. That's your delusion. Just know that you're only lying to yourself. You could lie to your friends. You could lie to your brothers. Don't lie to me. Be proud of your service. Like everybody else said, still veterans, vet community, military community, let's stop airing out our laundry out there for the civilians to scrutinize. They have an image of us, and all we're doing is shitting it up, especially when you're out there doing TikTok dances and shit like that, looking retarded as fuck. Stop doing that. We used to do it too. Not saying we didn't. We did stupid shit, but we just never posted it on social media. So with that said, man, if you're a veteran, cool. If you're a combat veteran, cool. But don't say you're a Cold War veteran. That wasn't a war. Or was it? That'll be the next topic, y'all. We'll catch y'all next time on the Gun Line. Thanks for being here. Rounds complete and a mission. Gun Line out. Deuces. Shots fired, baby. I'm out.